Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much. I got in yesterday, and I want to thank so many of you that I met for the first time. It was a very nice, warm welcome, so thank you. I'm from Los Angeles, California. As I was greatly introduced, my name's Phil Schraeder. I'm the CEO of GumGum. I've been with GumGum for now 11 years. I've been in the digital advertising space for almost 15. So since I was about 15, that's just a joke. But I'm really excited to talk about GumGum and what we're doing, but I'm more excited to talk about where we see the future of what's happening in our space. And so I wanted to talk about some key emerging environments that I think we need to think about as we start to build a future digital marketing strategy. For me, every time I think about where my life is now versus 5 years ago, I'm experiencing life just differently, very fast, right? I have a Peloton at home. I have a smart fridge at home. So I'm realizing I'm interacting in these digital environments way more than I ever have before. And then you look at generations, whether you have children, nephews, nieces, and you're watching them navigate these devices. And you're watching them navigate so many. It's really crazy. I mean, from the data I pulled of the 83 or so million people in Germany, the average number of devices they have connected to is 7. By 2025 is expected to be 9, meaning they're adding 2 more types of connected pieces to digital access of digital environments. That's a huge jump. But it's also a huge challenge for marketers when we're already feeling like, how are we building unique ways to stand out in all of these digital environments, be able to do that cost efficiently and successfully, and do it with respect for who our target consumer is. So the Pelotons, those smart refrigerators, all of those things are going to become part of our ecosystem and are all going to become opportunities, I believe, for advertising. But even prior to those in the future of where they're going, there are 2 really important, really accessible markets right now that are going unnoticed or are being taken advantage of in the wrong ways. One is in-gaming. We think of in-gaming as teenage boys playing. That's not true. 48 million people in Germany are active gamers. Over 50% of the population in Germany is an active gamer. That is your mom, that is your grandmother, that is women, that is men, that is everyone. You'd be amazed at the diversity within the gaming space, but over 50% in a very fast-growing sector. The other fast-growing sector is CTV, with, again, coincidentally, around 48 million German people are engaged or watching CTV. Again, over half the population within Germany. In these 2 new emerging environments that are there, that we're watching ourselves and people we love actively engage with every single day. So how do we get there as an advertising industry, but yet get there in the way that addresses our challenges that we have to build and address for today? We have these problems. It's great. We have in-game. What a great opportunity. We have CTV. What a great opportunity. But we can't really look too much to the future unless we're really ready to commit to building a foundation that addresses the problems today. One, we have privacy concerns. Within the German market specifically, over 50% of senior agency and advertisers said their biggest concern is data privacy and safety within CTV. So we all know we want to be there, but we're afraid, not sure, and safe on how to be there appropriately and at what risk to our brand. So privacy is huge. It's also huge because of government regulation. It's obviously huge because the cookie's going away. So we're really in this complete new world of how are we going to set up to be able to get the effective results that we've gotten so comfortable with today using these tactics when privacy is rearing its ugly head at us. We also can all attest to the fact we're inundated with advertisements, right? 10,000 a day. Just sitting here and watching all of the different companies pop up on these screens, go to the station, go get on the subway, take a bus. You don't realize you're seeing 10,000 ads a day, let alone compound that into how much digital noise is there when you're in these digital environments. It's insane. So how do you stand out? And how do you really become relevant to your consumer and show that you're really connecting with them when I'm just inundated with volume? And we're struggling then with the irrelevancy of those ads. We've turned a corner of where it was fun and exciting in digital to see ads. Now it's annoying, it's a nuisance, and you're using things about me that's freaking me out. And they're not relevant to one key thing. My mindset. Where is my mind? And so for us, if we're going to tackle in-gaming or we're going to tackle CTV, we need as an industry to respect me. What is my mindset at the time you are trying to advertise to me? Because we've gotten it all wrong. When I talk to my sister, right, back in the day, I have two nephews, 11 and 9. She struggled a lot to have a baby, but all of her friends were having babies, right? So she's shopping for all the baby shower gifts. But then it's following her around after she's had miscarriage after miscarriage, thinking she's a new mom to buy a cradle. That is not a good consumer experience. She does not want to be reminded of her struggles because we are trying to get a last click of a buy on someone. So it's great for performance, but is it really how we think we need to build an ecosystem going forward? And when we look at these devices like a Peloton, like a refrigerator, like in-game, or even CTV, do you even have an opportunity to advertise something irrelevant to me that's not in the mindset? I don't think so. Because I'm going to start to look and be like, why is this here? And why are you serving this to me? We need to get back to the focus of that attention aspect. The 10,000 ads. How are we getting access to that consumer? How am I standing out amongst everyone else? And go back to what I think is the best part of what we all do, which is creative. And the creative experience, we believe still is going to be the real successful winner on how you get that attention from a consumer. But the way in which that creative experience happens is going to be driven by technology like we've never seen before. So when we look at these devices, right, your Pelotons, your home gyms, your CTVs, all of it, it's leading you to one key thing, an opportunity to create an integrated, relevant experience in the mindset of that consumer so that you can stand out. And if you do that, you don't need to know anything about me. If I give you permission to know something about me, great. You can enhance that all day long, which is awesome, with your first-party data or any other data I allow you to use. But we have to remind ourselves that these opportunities are where the future is going. I should be at some point, if we believe this, you might be a skeptic. I think personal home gym equipment and all of that will have ad-supported models at some point in time, just like you're looking at streaming services like Netflix look to become an ad model all of a sudden. And you're going to find that you're going to be finishing your ride, and what happens when you're about to finish it in 2 minutes? What a great opportunity for Gatorade to slip right in at the bottom of my right screen and say, 2 times the hydration of water. Am I ready to buy Gatorade? No. Does that input go into my mind and think, yes, I didn't know that fact? Boom, that's good to know. When I'm at the store, maybe I want Gatorade next time. That just stood out amongst all 10,000 ads. That Gatorade ad, while I finished that Peloton, was probably more impactful than the 9,999 other ads that threw around me somehow that had no bearing on what I was doing. And that made an impact. So that's what we have to think about. But if we're going to go into in-gaming and we're going to go into these environments, we need to think about how we're bringing that in. And I talk a lot about contextual because I've been doing this for 11 years. And I also have a lot of personal problems with how we operate in our ecosystem today, right? I was coming out of the closet at 15 on my parents' computer. So I'm on researching gay and what's it mean and all this stuff. Even if I had known there was tracking on the browser, I would have never done that because I wasn't ready for my parents to know things about me. But all of a sudden, are they getting ads and tracking things? You've just taken away my access to content that's so amazing to help me, but now I'm fearful of it. So what we need to do is think and go back to when we say context, not think context is just a simple keyword, even though that's what we still are relying on. It is so much more sophisticated than that. It is looking at the text and the intent of the text. It's looking at the images and understanding how is that image related to the text. It's pulling in the audio from the video, transcribing it with those components, and the AI algorithm is giving you that human-like understanding on what's it about. That what's it about is the key first step into the mindset of what that person is doing so that you can then create the right ad experience. So we need contextual to be able to analyze, look at, and assess all of these components so that we can get it right. And we can put that right advertisement in that mindset. And let the environment be a really key driver to that. Because not only is it just a great, perfect experience when it comes to if you're successful at executing it, we all know that it's privacy-free. Right? You should be able to know my environment and advertise to me with knowing nothing, so I don't have to worry about that concern around data, that concern around privacy. I also know if I'm in the industry, I'm going to have to build creatives for what was now maybe 7 devices, then is 9 devices, that's now 15 devices, and that are siloed into audiences that are based on what I'm doing in the day. I'm the same person. But when I'm on a Peloton, or I'm in front of my refrigerator, or I'm on my mobile device, or I'm at work, or I'm watching CTV, and then I'm playing a game, you need to find creative ways to hit me in every single one of them. And how are you going to do that at scale? The way you're going to do that at scale is taking the contextual tech that's available to us now from a targeting and safety perspective, but blowing that out of the water and using it to build the creatives. So what you'll see happen in the future is more of brands giving the rules of engagement. What does my brand stand for? What are my logos? What do I care about? And what is it I'm trying to bring and message to that consumer? That is all I'm going to need. Let the technology build those creatives in that mindset with that right tone. Let them show you they're supporting you in that moment. They've got what you need when you're ready for it. And the technology will be able to create those creatives in each one of those environments. And that is the key to how we're going to scale. Because as you look at these environments right now, integrated TV experiences in video is we should be able to look at a video, a CTV video, and we should be able to see a 5-minute video. At 4 minutes, I should know it's a homecoming where the mother of 5 is coming home from war and she just had a really intense battle and she's home visiting her family. It's a reunion. It's a moment of emotion and joy, and it's captifying. That moment in that 4-minute video is an opportunity to advertise and capture me there. Regardless of whether there was an argument or a war scene 3 minutes ago, I forgot. I'm just there with that mother, that soldier, her family in that moment, and what can a brand do to enhance that for me? Show me they get that. Integrate that into the moment. That's by using video frame analysis. You need to use your audio transcription. You need to use your CV, your computer vision, AI tech to analyze those images so that you can break that down and create that one, not only safe, but very suitable experience that captures the essence of what that brand is ultimately trying to do, which is to connect with their consumer in their mind. The same thing in game. We're in game all the time. I'm not a huge gamer, but everyone around me seems to be. They're in these games. Virtual headsets, whole war rooms. It's insane. Where we have to even build rooms in GumGum just so that our engineers will come in and play and hang out because they love it so much, which we love to do. But that is also the first phase that we believe in getting it right as we go into a meta Web 3.0 environment. It really is your first access to someone headset virtually working in and collaborating around with others in an environment. Not just mobile, we're talking console games too. And so with that, you have to create experiences just like that red hot ad that's up in the corner, that I should be able to play, interact, turn that corner, finish my race, and be able to see and get advertised to, but seamlessly feel it's just part of the content. It's part of my journey. But I'll remember every time I turn that corner playing my favorite game that there's, a Coca-Cola ad, right? Or there's a Deliveroo ad for food service delivery when I'm a gamer. That would make a lot of sense as well. So we're going to have to, as an industry, be ready to tear down some of the things we built, focus on looking at the best of the best contextual to help a mindset. Think about how that is going to inform getting in front of these environments successfully so that you stand out, ultimately so that you can get their attention. And once you can get their attention, then you start to understand, did you make an impact, and how do you start to measure that? I know the attention economy is a real hot topic. I'm not here to get into that on this session. But what I'm saying is, if we think of those three things, when you think of these two new emerging environments, how do I create the creative? How do I get in the mindset? What's the right creative that's going to help me stand out, that ultimately gets me the attention? That's the winning strategy. And if you can do that looking at sophisticated contextual tech, sophisticated dynamic creative tech that uses contextual signals, sophisticated contextual tech that can help you in your planning and your campaign activation strategy, you're already at the forefront of winning. Because that, we believe, is going to be key to the foundation of these environments' success, but also some of those other ones I mentioned that I'm sure are just right around the corner. So with that, thank you very much. And how did I do on time?
Perfectly. Thanks a lot, Phil Schraeder.
Was I good on time? I didn't even have it. Okay.
No, it's absolutely perfect, but I still have two questions for you.
Okay, sure. I'm like, bye.
You held a pledway towards creative, and just in the last sentence, you talked about dynamic creative and automation, but actually, if we do it right, and if we want to serve channels perfectly, we need to look at each channel separately, and we have to go there into a creative process. That doesn't scale.
Correct.
And that's the biggest problem of this audience.
That's correct.
So what's the solution?
Right. So that's where I think you have to start to think about your partners and who you're working with. So let's just I'll just use us because I can speak for GumGum, right? Well, we have our own independent, we built our own ad server, we have everything, right? But we've partnered with all the DSPs. But the DSP has to be able to make available to you access to all of these different inventory points and has to make available the contextual lens of tools to help build that creative. Or alternatively, what you're seeing a lot of, and I've had conversations here, and it's pretty much every major holding company, they're building their own contextual solution, which is meant for first, contextual planning, and then second, we'll do exactly what we did with creative on personalization, we're going to do it in context. And then you'll start to see a lot of creative agencies really for the first time be brought into the fold really early in this kind of evolution, whereas they've kind of been second. Creative agencies were pushed to the side while we did data and audience data. We all know this, right? We spent a decade tracing audience data. Well, what happened? Now all of a sudden I'm getting Dear Phil in email messages, and they know my name, and that's where a lot of dynamic creative came to personal. It pushed creative people out of the way a little bit. It got rid of creative formats and high impact, and nobody wants that because they just wanted last click. They just wanted to and I think now what's happening is because the cookie and privacy and what we became so addicted to is going away, we're getting back to what makes our industry special, which is the creative is all coming back. You'll see creative people over the next decade pouring back into our industry because they're going to have a say in the technology that's going to help execute creatively their vision for a brand. So you'll see creative agencies have to be brought in early now. when they're talking even a targeting component, say for contextual, because it's going to be critical to the building of their ads, and they need their buy-in.
So to make it more efficient or more scalable, as I call it, you would build something like what we did 15 years ago, like personas. Now we do it with context.
That's right.
So we go into a strategy phase where we define these are sort of the major possible contexts, and that's where creative comes in, and then we try to automate within that.
That's right, because if you think about a perfect world, like when we look at these examples, how we see it is, let's just say I have an article on Kanye West. So Kanye West, the whole article is about, Coachella, his festival, and you classify that whole piece of content as urban, music, celebrity, Kim Kardashian, whatever you classify it as, however. You then look at all the creatives you have. Let's say I have a ton of creatives that I'm running for advertisers. I have a Dua Lipa fragrance, maybe, right? I have a Victoria's Secret ad. Those also have context components to them. The ads themselves. What's the tone? What's the message? What's in it? Just because Dua Lipa I also claim as like urban, and I have Kanye West as urban, if I contextually can see when those two things come together, what the performance is, what the attention is I get, I can start to optimize to then maybe it's not the urban, maybe it's the Victoria's Secret celebrity and celebrity that when those came together was really maximizing the impact. Meaning we got the mindset right, because you have to go through that testing of the different creative executions with tone, with thoughtfulness, and then see, that is getting that mindset right because there's more attention being spent with that ad. Then you know that and your system knows that, and you can be a lot more methodical, thoughtful, efficient, but for us as a partner, a lot more helping in the sense of advising on where we see contextual impacting your creative, if that's helpful.
We'll talk about how much processes changes that needs into the whole environment, because we've seen some of these technologies already, like dynamic audio creation, like million ads and things like that, and they're not really adapted that much. But let me ask you one last question. You touched the idea of metaverse by stepping into the gaming stuff. Just give us a short glimpse of what you think of how this will look like in, let's say, 3, 4, 5 years. Is there one metaverse, or will we still talk about like these young platforms we have now?
I think you'll still have young platforms. Yeah. I think what COVID taught us was that the physical world and the virtual world is blurry. And I think over the course of the next several years, as whether it's Meta or another virtual environment, you're going to start to see conferences like this, that half of the people might literally be in this room virtually as their avatar, and other people might physically be here. When that is happening, in the metaverse environment or in a Web 3.0 environment, there's no more important piece than context. Because anyone who would be sitting here as their avatar in a virtual world here versus physical, this is all moments of advertising opportunity that can be created in a moment based on the virtual world. So the assessment is key to then that opportunity to stand out. But the other part is, for me, is that context, if we can solve it and have to solve it, will help us all prevent in advance, I think, the nefarious actions of what we see some of the concerns are when it does come to privacy and what it does seem to lean into when it comes to safety, just our own children and people's safety around what's happening. We've already heard of like kids or young kids entering metaverses and they're being at brothels and certain things. And so if you are ever able to assess contextually what's happening, you can pick up on what's going on and be able to have some comfort and safety, but then also in alignment in advertising and relevancy. And so I definitely think that's going to be a big piece of the pie.
I believe you all that, but will it be one dominating world, or will we see even more fragmentation than now?
I think you'll have a leader in the space, but I think you'll have more fragmentation.
We'll ask the same to Dennis Buchheim later on, I think.
You might have a city you might have a place like a Berlin, right? You come to Berlin, I've been here now, I got here yesterday. Everyone's like, oh, whatever you want in Berlin, it's great. You can go out, you can do this, you can do, right? There's going to be worlds and cities that are going to have access points to lots, and then there's going to be nuances and specializations and things where people are going to go to find their really raw, pure community. And I think it'll emulate that of a similar physical world at some point.
I'm not sure if all of us want to meet in a virtual Berlin. There is at least a virtual Hamburg and virtual Cologne in Düsseldorf also. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, everybody, so much. And we're around. Thank you.